What's up, guys? It's Gary. So I've been getting a lot of questions in the comments about the two-step on this. Now, I did a video last year or about 9 months ago about the two-step, exactly how it's wired up. And I get some comments sometimes, hey, I hooked it up and it's not working. So I'm going to basically go over it again. I'm going to try to make this quick and simple. We're going to actually take our tachometer off of that, the thing that is creating our rev limiter, and I'm going to get another relay. I have another relay, and I'm going to wire it up on the opposed twin that I have over here. And it should be pretty straightforward. So follow along, and I'll try to cover everything. So this is the key to this whole thing working, an old school tack that has a shift light. Now this is an auto gauge by Autometer. It was the cheapest version of this 5-inch tack you could get. Remember, they had the shift light on them like this. It would have been mounted somewhere, you know, up there like that. Now the thing about it is it actually has a harness coming out of it with the positive and negative going to this light. It's an incandescent bulb, not an LED. And I've tried this with an LED, or I should say a friend of mine tried it with an LED and it did not work. Now I do have an LED one of these I'm going to try in the future, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, for the purpose of this, we're going to show you how to wire this one up. Alright, so here's everything you need to know. Yellow on your relay harness is going to chassis ground. The blue is going to go to the actual magneto, the kill wire, the little black ground wire that comes off the back of the coil. That wire goes into your ignition on-off switch. That is also where your tack signal comes from. So the tachometer, the green wire coming from the tack, goes to that green. It basically gets that signal from that wire. That wire also is what shuts the engine off, so that will go to your blue. Now the black and white is your shift light, and those could more or less be interchanged, but we're going white positive, black negative. There is a proper way to wire a relay, so put it in the comments if I have that wrong, which I usually do. But either way it'll work. Alright, so it goes without saying, we got a positive and a negative to actually power our tack, so those have to be hooked up. Now, here you have the harness. This is what actually came out to the shift light. And that, I will admit, this is just a setup from the other machine. But you can see we got white and black are going into this. Yellow is going to go to the chassis ground, and blue is going to tee in with our signal to the tack. kind of acting funny. Tacho. This tacho is acting funny. The freaking potentiometer in this thing is messed up. Let me show you. The other thing I noticed is if you're hooking a tack up to an opposed twin, it's going to have to be set differently, I think, because on the V-Twin, it's set for 4-cylinder and it operates perfectly, but on this, it's running like way lower RPM, I think, than it's supposed to be. Which kind of makes sense because this only has one coil, so it's going to be a different deal. But check this out. I had this issue on the last one of these I had. I wonder if it's just, yeah, I don't know. So I actually had it basically turned all the way down and it still didn't want to act right. Let's see. I don't think it's a bad connection either. But it was as if the two-step was moving. Turn it up a bit. Alright, now I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know why it's not working. It is working, but it's like overcoming it somehow. It reaches, if I give it very light throttle, it'll knock off the rev limiter. But as you see, if I just give it a whole bunch more throttle, it just starts revving up past it. I don't understand that. I don't think it's the tack. I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think it's something to do with the way this ignition is on this opposed twin with the one coil. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused. I'm thinking the takeaway from this right now is, well, I don't know. I'm gonna try this on a Kohler V-Twin eventually, and I guess I could try it on the Briggs Vanguard, but I don't know if it's gonna work on I don't know if it's gonna work on an opposed twin. You would think it should. I don't get it. It should work on anything. It should work on a single. Maybe it's because my tack is not calibrated for this engine, because the RPM is obviously way off, and I'm basically having to turn the dial all the way down till it bottoms out in order to get it to even do that. So this probably won't help you at all. This is a failure, but in the true, spirit of YouTube, failures make it too. So I'm gonna put it out You guys are going to wire it up and see what happens on your end. Maybe you have a V-Twin. If you have a Briggs Intek V-Twin, I'm 100% confident it's going to work for you. Wire it up just like that. You'll be good. Make sure this one of these tacks that you get has an incandescent light and 2 wires going to it. And make sure it works properly, because you see how that thing's all finicky when I'm turning the dial. I don't like that. That might be part of our problem. But it was working literally a minute ago. You saw that on the V-Twin. So, I don't know. Alright, I went and set the tack back to the default setting, which would be like for a V8. So, we'll try that, and then we'll disconnect one of the wires and try it a couple different ways and see if that does anything. So on this particular tack, it has little wires that you cut. You cut 2 of them, it's 4-cylinder. And if they're both connected, it's V8. And if one is cut, it's 6-cylinder. I don't know which one it is though. But some of the other tacks, like the tack that's on the dash of this one, actually has a switch on the back for that. But yeah, let's see what this does. Alright, well you heard it here folks. The famous Diesel Fuel Network 2-step rev limiter for a mower engine does not work on an Opposed twin. I don't know why. I'm going to go ahead and put all that stuff back on the V-Twin over here, and hopefully it's actually still going to work on that. And I don't know. That tack definitely has an issue with that potentiometer, but it was working perfectly on that a minute ago, so I think that isn't the issue at all. I'm kind of over it. So sorry guys if that wasn't enough to, sorry if that didn't help you out. But if you do have a V-Twin, then that will help you out, because hook it up to that and it'll definitely work. Again, I'm going to try it on a Kohler V-Twin and I'm going to try it on a Vanguard V-Twin just to make sure. But I have a feeling it'll work on those too. I think it has to do with the 2 coils and the particular firing order and how it runs. However, these Opposed twins are with the single coil. I don't know, maybe that's the whole issue. Obviously, the tack isn't even reading correctly anyway, and I tried hooking it up in the other fashion and it still didn't work. So, alright, so I got it all hooked back up to the V-Twin, so check it out. I want to show you the tack as it works when I hit the rev limiter. Alright, I'm going to switch it on. Well, there you go. If you got an Intek V-Twin, it'll work. I bet it'll probably work on a Vanguard V-Twin and a Kohler V-Twin too. Because I was thinking about it, obviously, you guys are yelling at me the whole time saying it's because of the firing order and everything. Yeah, because the Opposed twin kind of runs like a single. It just has the 1 coil, so every 360 degrees of rotation on the flywheel, it fires the coil. The V-Twin, I think it's 90 degrees. The coils are, you know, kind of near each other. I think it's about 90 degrees, and therefore the tack is actually reading half the RPM on the Opposed twin, which means it would read half the RPM on a single. So there are specific tachometers I think you can get for like small engines, mower engines and stuff like that. So if you guys are looking to just hook a tack up to one and you don't have a V-Twin, well then you're gonna have to get a specialty tack probably. But regardless, let's rip that thing around, right? I got another comment. Somebody said we like action videos, so not gonna leave you hanging. Since this was a failed video, let's at least drive that thing around a little bit. It's wet, get it sideways. All right, well, if there's a couple things that is a problem right now, I don't know if you could tell, these tires absolutely suck on the road. They're bouncing all over the place, and it's running like crap. I had this problem the last couple times I ran it at my house, but I hadn't gone out on the road in a long time, so it's not happy. Something's up with the fuel system, something's up with that carburetor. And the camera keeps tipping. I didn't want to over tighten that bracket because it's aluminum. I didn't want it to snap, but I don't know, let's take a little trip down this road and in Mexico and head back. I never even hit record. I didn't make it that far down the road. I wanted to stop and move the camera again because it just keeps tipping. So this is a freaking failure. Man, it's running like crap. It's underpowered too. I was just fully laid into it and it wasn't accelerating at a certain point, and then all of a sudden it hit the top end and it started accelerating. So definitely something up with that. And I'll be honest, I kind of want to just try that 25 horsepower Kohler, because even though that used to be on that other garden tractor, because even though I could get this thing running properly, it still always needed more power for these high speed rips. So now I'll actually keep recording and go down this road a little bit more, because that first part was kind of a boring part of the road anyway. Although I ripped a corner really fast, probably 35, 40 miles an hour fast. No, probably more like over 40, but still, let's rip. Alright guys, well that was sort of a fail, so I got to get this thing running right. It's absolutely running like crap. I don't know what that is. I had this carburetor off not that long ago and there's really nothing in it, so I don't know, maybe I'll just swap that Kohler 25 horse on there. And yeah, as far as the rev limiter goes, I guess you can only do it on one of these V-Twins, so yeah, stay tuned, because I think we're going to be working on this other project for Sunday. I should have a video out on Sunday. I got quite a bit done on this, and we will try to get some more done on it and see if we could drive that. Maybe not this Sunday, we're not going to drive it, but either way, that's going to be it. So like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and put a comment down below. Appreciate hearing from you guys. So I'll see you guys next time.